These 13 benefits honestly caught me totally off guard after moving across the country to Raleigh, North Carolina. One of the biggest benefits, in my opinion, is the abundance of nature in Raleigh. And it's one thing to read about that or to watch some videos online like you're doing now, but to actually live in Raleigh and experience it on a daily basis, you will be absolutely blown away. And even years after moving here, I still find myself absolutely stunned pretty much daily. It doesn't really matter where you are in this city, it feels like nature is always with you. And not only is that just something that's kind of cool and pretty to look at, but it actually personally helps a lot with my mental health. It brings me peace, it helps me breathe better, makes me want to get outside more. I can genuinely say that even though my workload has gone up since moving here, my stress levels have actually come down and I overall feel happier. And that's a big benefit that I just didn't plan for when I was looking at Raleigh to move to. We've still got 12 more benefits, and some of these are gonna really surprise you, so you're gonna wanna watch until the very end. But if you're new here, hi, I'm Benjamin. I'm your local guide to making a smooth move to the Raleigh area, helping you find a perfect place to call home. When you're ready to do that, just call or text the number at the bottom of the screen. Now, the second benefit that I found after moving to Raleigh was how much easier it was for me to get in shape, because naturally, I'm outside more. I'm getting more steps in. I'm going on walks, I'm hiking, I'm biking, going for a swim at the lake, I'm hitting up the mountains to go camping or skiing, and then I'm going to the beach and going for a swim. These are all things that are now just a part of my everyday life. It is so much easier to get outside here in Raleigh than when I lived in Dallas, Texas, where everything is kind of flat and ugly and it's always way too hot to get outside. So I just wouldn't go outside. Here it is very normal to get outside. In fact, pretty much any time of the day, you will see people outside pushing the strollers, walking the dogs, going for a run or a bike ride. And you'll see people walking around the office buildings on their lunch breaks. And the city has gone a long ways to make sure that Raleigh residents get active. They've connected pretty much all the neighborhoods with over 180 miles worth of greenway trails just in Raleigh alone. There are parks, lakes, playgrounds pretty much on every corner, making it impossible for you to not get outside. And how's this for crazy? I was doing a little bit of research. I found that we're actually number 7 out of 10 on the top list of the most healthiest cities in the United States. And that leads me to benefit number 3, that you actually get all 4 seasons when you live here in Raleigh. And you've probably seen that thrown around in videos or online. I remember that from my research too, but it's one thing to see it or hear it. It's another thing to actually experience it. You're probably wondering, are the summers that bad? It's a valid question. You're probably wondering, does it actually get snow? Well, let's answer that right here. So I found that it does get all 4 seasons and they're all pretty mild, which most people are going to appreciate. I came from Dallas where it was really, really hot. So yeah, it does still get hot here. We do have humidity, but it's not near as bad in my opinion. It still cools off in the evening. If you're coming from the north where it's always cold, there's a lot of snow and you hate the management of that, you hate being cold for half the year, well, you're not gonna have that here either. Maybe a few inches of snow at most, very manageable. If you love crisp, cool falls that are not too hot, not too cold, all the leaves are turning beautiful colors, that's my favorite time of year here in Raleigh. You're gonna love that. And very similar weather during the spring, we will see more rain, but that's what keeps it so incredibly green here in Raleigh, and we see a lot of beautiful flowers coming into bloom during that time as well. So you really do get a nice little taste of each season, but you don't get any extremes. So no matter what weather you're looking for, you're probably gonna be pleasantly surprised living here in Raleigh. Another benefit that I've really enjoyed about living here in Raleigh that surprised me is how easy it is to get around in our downtown. I came from a big city, so I never went downtown. It was too much of a stressful nightmare trying to park, trying to get around. There's so many people. Here in Raleigh, you can show up pretty much any time of day. You can snag some free parking. You can walk around, rent a scooter. It's all very accessible and chill. And yet there's still a lot of things to do there. Now, if you're actually looking for a big downtown, you want that concrete jungle, you might be disappointed with what we have to offer. Now, if you're really into the downtown scene, you should also check out North Hills. It's kind of our second downtown. It's a little bit newer. Some would say that it has nicer, more upscale shopping and dining and things to do there. It's got some pickleball courts too. So we've got a lot to offer. The 5th benefit of living in Raleigh is our job market. And I know it's a tough job market. It's not easy for everyone to find a job. But what I am noticing is that there are a lot of big companies like your Apple, your Lenovo, IBM that are moving in and putting headquarters, or they're putting in separate divisions here in the Triangle, and they're bringing in a lot of talent. They're also scooping up talent out of the universities here. I didn't realize when I moved here just how important those universities were to all the companies that are flooding into the Triangle, but it's actually increasing living wages. It's increasing the amount of job opportunities available in the Triangle, especially if you work in tech or IT or pharma. And yet our cost of living is pretty much on par with the national average, and our housing prices are not too far off either. While there are certainly cheaper markets to buy a house and for overall cost of living, this is an amazing market to get a high income job while still having the cost of your groceries, your housing, and all the other expenses be relatively in line with what the rest of the country is paying. Benefit number 6, I find this super fascinating, but Raleigh is actually a hub for entrepreneurs, specifically with startups. I don't know if I'd go as far as to call us a mini Silicon Valley, but because of all the attention from investors and from big companies coming into the area and just our overall population growth, plus all the universities that are known for research and academia here in the Triangle, we actually see a lot of startups happening here, especially on the Durham side of Raleigh-Durham. You can find monthly meetups and even pitch events that are hosted locally in the area. So whether you're about to go into college and you're looking for a university with a strong entrepreneurship program, or maybe you're just looking to go straight to starting your own business, because of our strong population growth, this just might be the city for you to do it in. Benefit number 7, I had no idea when I moved here just how important our healthcare system was. I knew that we had decent healthcare because of the universities here and because of some of the research going on, but once you move here, you realize, wow, healthcare is everywhere. There's some amazing hospitals here in the area, and there's so much innovation and research going on that's actually having people move across the country specifically to be close to Duke Health or UNC Health, to be near those hospitals and those centers. Pretty much anywhere in the Triangle, you're within 30 minutes of some of the best hospitals in the Southeast. And we do see people every day moving to the area solely for our healthcare system, especially if they're at retirement age, they have ongoing health problems. But even people who are just health conscious, this is going to be a major benefit that you might not have known beforehand. Now, number 8, it didn't take long for me to realize that Raleigh has that Southern hospitality. So a big benefit is how easy it is to fit in when you move to the Triangle. People are, for the most part, very welcoming, whether you're walking around the neighborhood and all your neighbors are waving at you and they're knocking on your door and bringing you home baked goods. These were real things that happened to me, but I might just be out at the gas station or hopping into a Panera Bread at a restaurant. People are just really nice here. They're extremely welcoming, and it didn't take long to make friends. And I'm not the only one who's had that experience. We do have that Southern hospitality here in Raleigh. Not everyone, especially the locals who grew up here, loves the amount of transplants coming into the area. So sometimes we do get a little bit of pushback on that, but for the most part, people are very welcoming because Raleigh is becoming a hotspot for transplants because of all the great jobs. And we also talked about how easy it is to get outside. So my suggestion would be get outside, join some groups, go for walks, and you're naturally going to be meeting people pretty quickly after moving to a new city. Number 9, when you move to Raleigh, it feels both big and small, and that probably is confusing, but we are a big city. We have 2.5 million people in the entire Triangle. That classifies us as, a smaller big city. However, because of all the trees, things just feel just a little bit more laid back and spread out, even though they're not really that way. And they've done a good job of keeping the high-rise sprawl and the construction and all that kind of stuff that comes with a growing city to a minimum. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you ask me, Raleigh is the perfect size. It's the perfect balance between a big city and a small city where you can make friends and you can know people, but there's also endless things to do and people to meet. And number 10, at least for now, everything is very easy to drive to. I have a running joke where if someone asks me where something is, I just immediately say, it's gotta be about 15 minutes away, because that usually ends up being about the case. Especially if you're in like North Raleigh, Northwest Raleigh, or Cary, you are central to the Triangle and you can pretty much get anywhere you want like that. And overall, our traffic is pretty good. It's well below the national average for average commute times, and it's very common for someone to have a 10 to 15 minute commute, which is just unfathomable in other larger cities, like in Dallas, where you could spend an hour plus in traffic, and that was considered normal. Number 11, speaking of saving time, our airport, RDU International, is ridiculously easy to get in and out of. The only time I've ever waited more than about 5 or 10 minutes was on a busy holiday, and even then I was able to get through in about 20 minutes. Unlike some states, our airport is absolutely free to drive through, so you don't have to pay a toll. Parking is ridiculously easy. Long-term parking is pretty dang cheap, and again, it's just so easy to get around. There's only 2 terminals. Most of the flights are going to be at Terminal 2, so you really only have one terminal that you have to worry about. You don't have to take a tram between 6 different stations and try to deal with changing flights going from A to F. None of that stuff. You're going to love flying in and out of RDU. Now, benefit number 12, once you've lived in Raleigh for some time, you're going to start wanting to explore the rest of North Carolina and the rest of the East Coast. What's nice is Raleigh is actually very central to the East Coast, meaning you can go south as far as Florida, you could go north up to Vermont for all I care, and there's so many cool places to visit in between. But even just within North Carolina, a big benefit is that there are so many day trips and weekend trips that you could make, and it's just going to feel like you have endless places to go, whether you're wanting to go to a remote winery or out to the many beaches like Outer Banks or Wilmington, or if you want to go into the mountains, there are infinite places to go camping, and they're all within 3 hours. During the winter, you could even go do some skiing without leaving the state. There's a whole string of water holes throughout North Carolina that I'm just dying to make one giant road trip on and go explore them all. But the point is, coming back to the abundance of nature in not just Raleigh, but North Carolina in general, there are going to be infinite places that you're going to want to go visit. So if you like exploring and trying new things, trying new places, you're going to absolutely love Raleigh. Number 13, this one completely caught me off guard, and I didn't even realize this was a benefit of moving to Raleigh until I had already lived here for at least a year. It's that we actually have very low natural disaster risk. So for example, if you live in like the Midwest or Texas, right, you're going to have tornado warnings going off a lot. If you live right off the coast, so the east side of North Carolina or down in Florida, you're going to have tsunamis and hurricanes. Those are real issues. We've seen some devastation just recently. If you are on the West Coast, say in California, you might experience the impact of earthquakes. And of course, if you live somewhere that's more mountainous, there could be landslides, mudslides, there could be, hailstorms, there could be snowstorms, all that kind of fun stuff. So what's nice about Raleigh is that you are just perfectly situated a few hours from pretty much everything that is out to get you. Now, I'm not saying we don't get some impacts from hurricanes or we don't get tornado scares, but it is far and few between. We really are in this nice little sweet spot that naturally just protects us from a lot of the major impacts from natural disasters. And what I want to know is, which of these 13 benefits was the most surprising to you? Drop that down in the comments, and if you want to keep learning more about living in Raleigh, then make sure you watch one of these videos next. I'm Benjamin, and I'll see you there.